So the Associated Press announced their nominations, essentially, for their end-of-year NFL awards today. And the Green Bay Packers, conspicuous by their absence. Not a single Packers player or coach is up for any of the major awards, whether it's Comeback Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, MVP. And I don't think any of it is really that surprising. The Packers had, I think by their standard, a somewhat disappointing season. I think there was a moment there, a stretch where Matt LaFleur probably would have been in consideration for Coach of the Year, especially coming off the work he did with Malik Willis early in the season. But the way his team flamed out at the end, not surprising his name is not mentioned among the potential coaches of the year in the NFL. As far as players go, Xavier McKinney is probably somebody who should have been in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. He's absent. And even that one I somewhat understand, especially since he feasted on turnovers early in the season. Most of those dried up by the end of the year. And, big plays, splash plays, especially in big time, primetime games, those are what usually catch people's eye, right? And turn heads when it comes to the AP voters. But there is one omission that is somewhat, I'm not going to say upsetting because, like I said, it's not really that surprising, but it is kind of ludicrous. I will say ludicrous, underline that, italicize it, however you want, that Edgerrin Cooper is not one of the nominees for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I understand the man only started 4 games. He missed a large swath of time because of injury. Couldn't really get on the field at the start of the year, playing a handful of snaps each game at the beginning, say through September and October. But there is no denying his productivity. The man had a ton of tackles for losses. He had sacks. He had interceptions. And he was clearly a difference maker when he was on the field. And yet the Eagles have 2 defensive backs in Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean who are up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. It must have been Cooper DeJean's 0 interceptions that really did him in. I mean, here's my thing. I understand those rookies came in and played very well, and they played a lot. No question about it. DeJean himself started all the games and played in all the games, didn't start all of them, but he was out there in a scheme that is very different than, say, oh, I've got to go man up on guys. You're with a veteran coordinator who has a very specific type of scheme that allows you to play a very specific kind of way, as opposed to somebody like Edgerrin Cooper, who's out there flying around, making plays both in and out of the scheme, something we heard Matt LaFleur talk about a few times this year as far as needing to get him a little more assignment sure. But, man, you cannot deny the playmaking ability you saw from Edgerrin Cooper all year long. And to have him completely snubbed like that rubs me the wrong way. I mean, there's no doubt. Just look at the tape. It's something that I'm sure half of these AP voters are not doing. But all you got to do is turn it on and see a guy who makes a difference each and every time he's out there, to the tune of the fact that he was a defensive rookie of the week twice and a defensive rookie of the month at the end of the year in December. And that was a month where, by the way, he missed a game at the start of that month. So it is, a bit frustrating as a Packers fan to see a player who is very clearly special and is going to be a special player in Green Bay, hopefully for a long time to come, get just completely thrown to the side like that. But again, I'm not surprised because of the fact that he didn't play as much as some of his other fellow rookies. These guys, the voters, they're not breaking down tape each and every week of every other guy. And they're mostly looking at, what defenses played well? Who are the rookies on those teams? What are their quote unquote PFF grades? And then they're going from there. So the Packers will have to hope that next year is a bit better when it comes to these end of year honors. And hopefully next Super Bowl week, they have a couple guys up for recognition who aren't able to attend because the Packers are playing in the Super Bowl. That's the hope. That's the dream. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Were there any Packers snubbed outside of Edgerrin Cooper? Did the AP voters get it right? Should Edgerrin Cooper not have been in consideration? Let me know in the comments, and then tell your friends and tell your family CHTV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide.